Hey there, hi there, ho there. This episode of Radiojew's Revenge 2.0 is coming from the new, soon-to-be up-to-the-minute, state-of-the-art Bear Star Media Complex high above the legendary Hollywood sign, once again in the land of my birth, L.A., California. And we have been experiencing out here something that I recall happening maybe once in my lifetime. And I did the math, and basically two-thirds of my life I've lived around these parts, and I've sort of come to expect certain things. And I came up in an environment that boasted a 13-inch annual rainfall out here in Southern California. Now, I do not ever recall seeing a 13-inch rainfall year here, two-thirds of my life having been lived here. I do recall one extraordinary year of rainfall where it was looking like it does now, only where I was at the time there was an underground parking, and I came down one morning to find that the place was flooded all the way up to the doors. Yeah, we're not doing that this time. But and they told us back then it was also supposed to be a drought breaker, or they hoped it was a drought breaker, that it would take probably 2 or 3 rainfall years like that before we were safely out of the drought. And if I recall, we just barely squeaked through at the time. We may be getting into a cycle like that now, and I certainly hope so, because we're looking right now at a 20-inch rainfall year here in LA, which is a lovely thing, except that it does little for the actual water supply that we bathe in and wash our dishes and of course heat up for coffee. And that comes from the Colorado River, and that's a whole different sort of a whiskey is for drinking, water is for fighting over situation, and we're not getting anywhere near Colorado River and LA's water supply, not on this episode. But we do have reservoirs here, and they are looking healthy for the first time in many years, although, again, to just make that average happen, I guess that's how we're going to wind up doing it. We go drastically over the average number and then off to droughts, which is kind of how we've done it out here so far. Looking forward, not necessarily happily, to another one, but I am hoping for another rainfall year like this. Maybe 2 wouldn't be too bad at all. Get the reservoirs up and just be nice to the lawns and the golf courses and the miniature golf courses and all those places that we can maybe feel a little more comfortable about. So we'll be watching. We'll be covering it, and so will everyone else, the weather out here in LA, and especially the rainfall. We'll be in it. Actually, I'll be trying to stay inside and out of it. So watch this space. Now this. The Low Math Science Lab is a new and recurring feature here at Radiojew's Revenge 2.0 because there is a whole lot of science out there that doesn't really require that detailed an explanation for folks to understand what's going on. Okay? For example, following item. The long-dead woolly mammoth will make its return from extinction by 2027, says Colossal, the biotech company actively working to reincarnate the ancient beast. How we doing so far? Onward. Last year, the Dallas-based firm scored an additional $60 million in funding to continue the, mammoth gene editing work it started back in 2021. That, by the way, is not my work. I'd like to think I can do better. If successful, not only will Colossal bring back an extinct species, one the company dubs a cold-resistant elephant, But it will also reintroduce the woolly mammoth to the same ecosystem in which it once lived in an effort to fight climate change, according to a recent Medium post, which I haven't found yet. Colossal calls the woolly mammoth's vast migration patterns an active part of preserving the health of the Arctic, and so bringing the animal back to life can have a beneficial impact on the health of the world's ecosystem. While Colossal originally hoped to reintroduce the woolly mammoth into Siberia, the company may explore other options based on the current political framework of the world, and if you're not certain what that's all about, just go back to the previous episode of this series. The woolly mammoth's DNA is a 99.6% match of the Asian elephant, which leads Colossal to believe it's well on its way toward achieving its goal. One does, however, wonder what the other 0.4% of the DNA, however, back to the article. In the minds of many, this creature is gone forever, the company says, but not in the minds of our scientists, nor the labs of our company. We are already in the process of the de-extinction of the woolly mammoth. Our teams have collected viable DNA samples and are editing the genes that will allow this wonderful megafauna to once again thunder across the Arctic. Yikes! Who wrote this copy? Henry Wu? Back to yes. Through gene editing, Colossal scientists will eventually create an embryo of a woolly mammoth. They will then place the embryo in an African elephant to take advantage of its size and allow it to give birth to the new woolly mammoth, kind of a elephant surrogacy. The eventual goal is to then repopulate parts of the Arctic with the new, previously prehistoric woolly mammoth and strengthen local plant life with the migration patterns and dietary habits of the beast. If Colossal proves successful on reincarnating the woolly mammoth, ditto the Silacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger. Expect a variety of new ethical questions to arise on how to handle that critter and potential reintroduction issues. There are 2 still best-selling novels and no fewer than 6 major budget, major concept, big, Stan Winston monsters and everywhere, explaining why this is a really bad idea. Nonetheless, it's happening. It's a happening thing. There's no stopping it because, just like they say in the book, it's like, yeah, they can do it. But that doesn't necessarily mean they should. Nonetheless, they will. And all I can say to them is, be careful. Please be careful. Meanwhile, I look forward to the Woolly Mammoth Parade up Broadway about midway through 2032. Watch this space. Now this. Got a note from YouTube this week. Lovely little piece of business there from the marketing department. Kind of some tips on how to up my numbers, like at least they've been watching. And they asked for any suggestions that I might have to improve the system, and I said, well. Pertaining to the delivery of notifications, okay, and that, by the way, is the bell-shaped button there under the main screen, wherever you find it there. Some. It's smaller than the subscribe button. In any event, maybe some way to improve that. And I did have some suggestions involving Louis the 16th horse-drawn carriages, just two horses. And a driver and a couple of guys in, like, period livery, all ruffles and satin and stuff, and then they come up to your door and deliver the handwritten notification that it's another video coming up by hand drawn by a calligrapher, of course, and hand that over so that it kind of class up the operation a little bit. Yeah. I'm waiting to hear from YouTube on that. But until we can arrange something, a little more grand and whatever, do hunt around. It shouldn't be that hard to find the button with the little bell on it. That's the one that gets you the polite email from YouTube, and the subscribe button just makes us easier to find because it gets on your subscribe list, and that's always helpful. You can never tell when we're going to do something amusing here. And we will attempt to get back next week. So far, so, as it is, if I'm here shooting, then I'm not someplace else shooting for real money. So it's, whatever. But that's as long as my real work doesn't interfere, why, we'll be getting together around this time next week. And always remember, life is uncertain. So eat dessert first. Happy trails.